Hello everyone, I'm Deadlydill and welcome to this week's episode of Gaming News. I barely got any sleep last night, so this is gonna be fun.
I haven't slept in 8 days!
This week's top stories include Cyberpunk, Nintendo Direct, Star Wars Outlaws, Cities, Skylines 2, and Xbox acquiring Activision and Blizzard. But before we get into any of that, let's hear from this week's video sponsor. This week's video sponsor is sleep. Yeah, that's right, sleep. You know, you close your eyes and go to sleep and not stay up gaming until 1 a.m. like I did last night. And now my children are up screaming in the background and I am tired. I want to go to bed. Anyway, make sure you get some sleep today and don't stay up till 5 a.m. gaming when you have to work at 7. I can guarantee you that everyone's gonna call you Mr. Grumpy Gills. So get some sleep today. Let's get into this week's top stories. In a recent post by a game developer from CD Projekt Red, he claimed that Cyberpunk 2077's release was not bad at all, and it just became a really cool thing. Just hate the game. Now, I don't know about you, but I was one of the unfortunate souls to play on opening day, and let me tell you, it was horrible. It was actually so bad that they had to pull it out of the PlayStation Store and start offering refunds to people. But I mean, I guess it was the cool thing to do. I'm sure that people were thinking in their head, man, I can't wait to spend $70 on a game, get ready to play it, all of a sudden realize that it's unplayable and get a refund just because it was the cool thing to do. It reminds me of the time when I told my mom that a lot of things that she did when I was a child caused me trauma, and now I have to go to therapy. And then she responds with, your childhood wasn't that bad, and I don't remember doing that. Thanks, Mom. I guess I fell victim to just saying that stuff because it was the cool thing to do. Am I right? Anyway, let's hope with the release of Cyberpunk Liberty City coming out in September will help revive the game. Or we can all fall victim to just hating it because it's the cool thing to do. Now, this is exciting news. For the first time ever, we're getting an open world Star Wars game. That's right, and if you can tell, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so I am super excited. I had literal tears in my eyes when I was watching this, okay? I was super hyped. And to our knowledge, this game is gonna be taking place between Episode 5 and Episode 6, so we know that the Empire is gonna be playing a dominant role in this game. In the trailer shown at the 2023 Xbox Showcase, we are introduced to our protagonist, Kay Vess, and her companion, Nyx, who is a scoundrel attempting one of the biggest galactic heists in history. Rather than taking a traditional protagonist of a Jedi character, which, let's be honest, we still all want. I mean, we've wanted an open world Jedi game for forever. Ever since Star Wars came out, we've wanted something like this. So we're happy for the game, but I mean, Jedi game will be pretty cool too. You'll be taking on a more rebellious scoundrel role, which will have you fighting and stealing your way through missions and environments, as well as outwitting any questionable forces you come up against. And we know in this game that the Syndicate is going to be playing a strong focal point in the game. Now, out of everything that I just talked about, we know one thing for certain, that even if this game is the most amazing Star Wars game of all time, like literally blows us out of the water, better than Jedi Survivor, better than Knights of the Old Republic, better than any Star Wars game ever made, I can guarantee you that there's gonna be a small portion of Star Wars fans that are just gonna make their voices known on how much they hate it on the internet. You're gonna still have those over-the-top Star Wars fans complaining about Disney, complaining about everything, complaining how it's off by 1.333% off the canon of Legends. No one cares. We're getting a freaking Star Wars game that's open world, dude. And that sounds like a lot of whining. More whining than my children when I tell them no, they can't have cotton candy for breakfast. The game is set to release early 2024. Last week during the Nintendo Direct, Nintendo came out swinging with all of the new games that are set to release. Now, we're not gonna talk about Pikmin 4, we're not gonna talk about Peach getting her own game, which is pretty cool. We're not gonna be talking about Luigi's Dark Mansion coming to the Switch. We're not gonna be talking about the Metal Gear Solid collection. We're not gonna talk about the new Mario Kart pack that's coming out. We're not gonna be talking about Detective Pikachu Returns. And we're not gonna talk about the 50 games about farming that Nintendo's releasing. How many games about farming could we possibly need? And why do we need to add farming to every game known to mankind? I wonder if actual farmers play like Farming Simulator and how they feel about it. That's a question that pops up in my mind all the time. But forget about that, let's keep going. No, what we're gonna be talking about is Super Mario RPG, which To be honest, I had no idea even existed before this game was announced. Apparently, this game is a reimagined version of the Super Nintendo game Super Mario RPG: The Legend of the Seven Stars. The Super Mario RPG story focuses on Mario and his friends as they seek to defeat Smithy. That's a interesting name for a villain. Anyway, let's keep going. Who has crashed into their world and stolen the 7 star pieces of Star Road. And with a combat style exactly like the old Final Fantasy games, what the heck's not to love? I have one major question when it comes to all this. How the heck is Mario getting a second RPG, but Halo cannot get a Battle Royale? Here you go, Mario. Let's give you a really cool game mode that's an RPG style. Heck, that's awesome. Hey, Halo fans, we're gonna give you Infection for a week. Good. That game should have already been in the game in the first place. Super Mario RPG is set to release November 2023. Now, there's a game coming out from Microsoft called Cities Skylines 2, which is coming out October 24th. 2023. Now in this game, I need you to imagine SimCity. You guys remember that one, that like first game that some of you guys played on PC? Imagine SimCity like times like 1 million. I mean, 1 million. 1 million. Now, if you can think it, you can build it. You are in full control of your city, from skyscrapers to suburbs to companies to the cars to the traffic. Everything is in your fingertips. Now, this part's exciting. The game developers made the simulation so real, and I mean so real, that younger people in the game are actually flat broke. That's right. Not only do we get to live in real life broke, wondering how we're gonna pay for groceries, rent, electricity, keep our kids alive and fed, but no, we get to live it in an actual game simulation as well. Talk about exciting. I guess this is what they meant when they wanted games to be more realistic. Not this realistic though. This makes me sad. But I mean, talk about exciting, right? More exciting than watching the Twitch CEO totally bomb every single interview when talking about the future of Twitch. More exciting than getting punched in the face by my 2-year-old because he doesn't want to go to bed. More exciting than an actual Call of Duty hacker hunter finding an actual hacker in Call of Duty. Anyway, this game is set to release in October. Are you excited about it? In the latest news of Microsoft trying to acquire Activision and Blizzard, the PlayStation gaming head Jim Ryan had a few words to say. One of the things he said is that Xbox Game Pass is destroying the value of games, which I don't really see that, but cool. He actually came out saying that publishers absolutely hate Xbox Game Pass, but Sony has some games on Xbox Game Pass. And then Sega came out saying, man, we love that our games are on there. And then, I mean, Ubisoft and EA, you know, a couple other smaller gaming companies. But, you know, everyone hates it. He also goes to say that if Xbox brings Call of Duty to Game Pass, that it would drive more people to buy Xbox instead of PlayStation. Isn't that the point of doing stuff like that? I mean, no, we're just doing it because we don't want to make any money whatsoever. Which is funny because he's saying this while Sony has done the same exact thing, making exclusives so that way people are wanting to come over and buy a PlayStation. That's the point. I don't know what else to say about that. Which, in my opinion, ultimately bit him in the butt because Final Fantasy 16, which was set to release for Xbox as well, only came out for PlayStation, and it's actually reported that it's making 75% less money than Final Fantasy 15, which just goes to show you that 75% of those players were probably Xbox players. Do you think Microsoft is finally going to acquire Activision and Blizzard? Well, that's it for this week's episode of Gaming News. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below, and hit that bell for future video notifications. I'm Deadlydill, and I need more coffee or I need to go back to bed. We'll see you next time.